To show us how to digitize your business processes with AppSheet, let's welcome Mr. Luke Swetman.
Great, thanks. And great to have you all on this session. The purpose of the session is I'm going to be focused on how do you rapidly digitize manual or paper-based processes. So there could be processes that today you have and you're running maybe off a spreadsheet or you have paper. I'm going to actually take a spreadsheet in this session and turn it into an app live. And the best thing about this is I don't know how to code. I'm not a developer, I'm not technical. And so if you're also not a technical person, then you'd also be able to do the same thing that I'll demo in this session. As I am going to be demoing, I recommend that you just click this button above the kind of share screen part of your screen at the moment to make it go full screen so you can see all of the detail in the demo that I'll do. All right, so I'm going to kick off, and before we get into a live build, I'm going to just talk through a little bit about what AppSheet is. So if this is the first time you're hearing about AppSheet, great. AppSheet essentially allows you to innovate everywhere in an organization. You don't need to be technical. You can build apps and automate processes even without knowing how to code. And really that helps two areas of the business or your agency that you work in. If you are in an agency or a line of business and you want to digitize work faster, then AppSheet is a great way for you to do that. And if you're in IT, you might have a long backlog of requests from other teams in your agency or your organization. And with AppSheet, you're able to empower those teams to digitize their processes so you don't have to build everything and kind of code all solutions from scratch. AppSheet as a product is relatively straightforward. So the idea is that you connect AppSheet to a data set that you have. Now, if you're like me and you don't know how to code, then you probably start with maybe an Excel file or a Google Sheet. If you are a bit better with data, then you could use maybe a MySQL database or a SQL Server database that you have. If you are technical and you may be in IT, then you can do even more advanced things. So you could connect to things like Salesforce, maybe public cloud, or even to APIs as well. Once you've connected AppSheet to your data, AppSheet will analyze the data structure that you have, and it will try and build you the first version of what it thinks you're trying to do. So it'll build you an app that you can get started with. From there, you can customize it in the AppSheet editor. So you'll see me doing that shortly. And then finally, one of the really nice things about AppSheet is you don't have to customize the app for every device that's going to be using it. So you don't have to make one version for mobile and one version for web, but rather you just create it once and AppSheet will automatically build it for any device that you wish to use it on. And one of the nice things about this is you go really fast from idea to solution. This isn't the normal way of developing apps. Traditionally you'd kind of build up a spec or a project spec or brief. You'd go to a development team, they'd code the app, and then you'd have a solution. But then of course you'd have to go back to the start and keep starting again each time you want a new feature. Whereas with AppSheet, you really rapidly can update and change the app without needing to always go back to the start and build a long project brief out. So you'll see as I demo it today, it is going to be really rapid with how you can build apps. You're probably thinking, apps, like what can you actually do with something like this? Because it sounds pretty broad. And I guess one of the nice things is that it is pretty broad. You could have people who are out in the field, like maybe your agency needs to interview people and capture information about those interviews. You could capture that in an AppSheet app and store it all centrally. Say you have someone in the office doing approval workflows. So you need budget approvals, marketing content approvals, PR approvals, maybe even just doing project management and like ticketing of some sort. A great example I saw recently was an organization that had contract management as a really key pain point. They had lots of different versions of documents. They couldn't track the progress of those documents and their approvals and their revisions. And with AppSheet, they could create an easy contract management system. And even, when you're engaging with citizens as well, that's another area where you could have apps where maybe you need to capture information from citizens or, generate a PDF or an Excel file from certain data points. You could also use AppSheet for something like that. Now, today, one of the really common use cases I see AppSheet being used for is approvals. So what I'm going to do is build an approval manager app from scratch. So you can see a quick example here. There's going to be two groups of people. There's going to be requesters. So they submit an approval request. They need to attach documents, and then also they want a receipt that proves that they submitted that. And then also there's going to be reviewers. They receive an email for new requests, letting them know that something's been submitted. They can also approve or reject a request and then see all the open requests in a list as well.